Hi, my friends. Welcome back to another fun project video with paint pouring techniques. This video, I am creating a paint pour piece for a collaboration at the Paint Pour Academy with the Artist Spotlight program. The collaboration title is Summer Fun, a Splash of Color and Coastal Vibes. If you want to learn more about the Artist Spotlight program at the Paint Pour Academy, go to paintpouracademy.com/artist-spotlight and you'll learn more about what it is, what we do. And if you are an artist yourself, please feel free to fill out the form at the bottom of the page to be considered. I would love to meet you. Now for this piece, I'm using a 14 by 16 stretched canvas, and I thought I would do a traveling tree ring pour. And if you haven't seen this or heard of it, it is super fun. It is a tree ring pour with one end of the canvas tilted up so that the paint slides down the lower part. And I wanted to do a two-toned landscape piece. So I'm going to do my warm colors at the top to be like a sunset sky, and my cooler colors at the bottom to represent the ocean and the waves. I'm using Liquitex paints, and I will list all of the products I am using in the description box below. I mixed all of my colors, 1 part paint, 3 parts pouring medium, and then I added a splash of water to get them all to the same consistency. Once I did that, I started layering my colors in the pour cups. For the warm colors, I used a red, an orange, and a yellow, and I just alternated the colors in just any way I felt like it. I didn't have a specific way until it was full. And then I did the same with the cool colors. I used a dark blue, a lighter blue, and then a silver. I thought silver would be a different look instead of just using a white. Once my pour cups have been filled, I made sure the canvas toward the right of the screen was setting on the table, and then to the left of the screen, it was propped up on Dixie cups. I started pouring, and the goal with doing this with 2 different pour cups is to pour the same time. If you poured one before the other, you'd get a lot of paint on the table at the bottom with one color, and then you just end up having a mess. And don't ask me how I found that out. I've done it. So I started out doing a tree ring pour, and then I just kind of had fun pouring the paint in the puddle and then just kind of watching it slide down. This is such a fun little technique that is actually super simple. The only thing I wish I would have done different here is put more yellow towards the bottom of my pour cup in my warmer colors, because you see how the red and the orange have taken over, and the yellow on the outside is going to be poured off. I am adding a little bit more paint here because I don't want to overstretch anything. And I want to make sure that the canvas is saturated with enough color to leave the design intact. Now, once my colors have crossed across the canvas, I did prop the right side of the canvas back up on the Dixie cup so everything is level. And once I'm done fidgeting with my colors and adding more color, I'm going to pick up the canvas and tilt. I'm going to go slow And this is a real-time video. Nothing has been sped up and there's minimal edits. I do not expect cells to pop up here. I just want the linear curve design just to take a natural life and to shift and move as my canvas shifts and moves. And one thing that is super important is just to trust the process. Trust that it'll all work out. I am making sure that my corners are covered and that my edges are covered. I have enough paint on this canvas to ensure that it is. Now that I'm comfortable with the top, I'm going to start moving this paint towards the bottom, stretching those yellow lines in the sky if possible. Now, one thing I did forget as I was doing this, I should have done the ocean section first because they are the darker colors, and those darker colors have touched the canvas. So as I am tilting this, the warmer, more transparent colors are going to cover the darker color on the canvas. When it dries, you're going to see a shadow of that darker color. You'll see what I mean at the end. For this piece, it worked. It looked like a mountain in the distance, which was really cool. Now the silver in this, I am so glad I used instead of white, because the silver reflected upon the blue and in some areas looks white. So if I would have put white, I would have had some white areas, yes, but I think I would have had more shades of blue, and I didn't necessarily want that. I wanted something distinctively shimmery and bright to pop out in these waves. I think this was the perfect touch. Now you can see the yellow has dissipated. It was too transparent. I'm thinking next time I try this, I might mix white with the yellow to get it less transparent, although it'll be brighter or lighter. I think that would be okay because the yellow just kind of disappears. It gets lost, and the red and the orange blend great. So far, so good for what I'm doing with this project. There is my ocean water, and there is a sunset sky. So I'm gonna let this dry, and here is a close-up of the wet piece, just so you can see the details a little bit better. I love how this ocean turned out. So pretty. The sky, you see what I mean about the shadows right there? They'll start popping out. And this sky is fine. There's more yellow than I thought, and once it dries, it'll look great. So, for the finished result, when it did dry, I decided to add a quote in the sky. I added this in the area that I thought was too much red, just to give it something to offset that. I put a little island in a palm tree, and then a boat riding on the waves. I am loving how this turned out. I love how that shadow on the right side, it does look like a mountain in the background. It's so cool. I love how this turned out. So let me know what you think about this project. Let me know if you've tried something like this. And thank you for painting with me. I will see you in the next video. Bye.